Hey guys, today's video I'm just talking about a coaching client that I've been working with lately who is really trapped, has had the kitchen sink, if you will, thrown at them, and right now is at the bottom of the barrel. Everything seems to be lost, everything seems to be pointless, and everything seems to be insurmountable. And I believe that this video is applicable to all of us. We all have felt that sense of being trapped, being powerless, feeling like it's just insurmountable, like what we need to do to claw ourselves back to the life we want seems so far out of reach that we pretty much ready to hang up the boots. So this video, I'm just going to talk to you about exactly how I've coached this person through it. And they are now on the other side of this, still working, because obviously it's an ongoing thing. With any transformation, with any endeavor, with any pursuit that you have in your life, it's about staying the course. It's about digging deep and consistency over time to achieve the goal. So the first thing that we looked at was the emotional state. I was talking to them about what's the emotion in the body, and what they said was a bunch of different things that were actually beliefs. These weren't emotions, none of them. There was 3 or 4 things that were said, and each one of them was a belief either about the world or about themselves, but it wasn't the emotion. Then when we got down into it, what it was disappointment. There was a huge amount of disappointment and sorrow and sadness that they weren't allowing themselves to feel. You know that I've talked a lot about emotional power, and that my personal journey from the depths of depression and addiction, that was catapulted forward into the life I have now by allowing myself to feel, and then I could heal. You have to release the emotion that's in the body so you get movement, and then you start thinking in line with the new feeling in the body. Because when you're feeling depressed and you're feeling like everything's insurmountable and you're feeling that distorted, contracted, anger or blame, your thought patterns just look and mirror exactly like the distorted, suppressed, limited emotions in the body. So we worked through a few techniques about how to release the trapped emotion. That was the first thing I looked at. I always come at, okay, what could be the emotional component that's going on here? So if for yourself right now, you are going through something with your family, with work, with whatever, check in with yourself first. Get real with yourself and find out whether or not there is a feeling, if there's an emotion that you are afraid of expressing. You got to look at it, and when you look at it and embody it, it dissolves, it moves through you. But if we resist it and we run from it and we try and bury it with the things we do to bury pain, like addiction, most of addiction is born out of not wanting to feel, not wanting things to be as they are. And as they say in Buddhism, all suffering is caused by resistance to what is. The next thing I did, which I'm suggesting for yourself that you can now look at, is sifting for the gift. It was digging through, and just briefly, I want to touch on this here for a moment, that every time we tell the story of the past and every time we relive something from the past, the brain wraps myelin around those neuronal circuits. Special cells come in called oligodendrocytes, and they wrap this myelin, this fatty substance, protein, around the brain so that the neurons in the brain, so that the nerve impulse can conduct faster, which means the more we tell it and run around telling it, we actually are validating our reason for why we're stuck, for why we're a victim, for why nothing is fair. I personally never go through things at great depth. I just skim over it with my clients so that we can sift for the gift. I want to go searching for gold and find that little bit of wisdom, that little bit of self-empowerment that exists in all pain, and all trauma. And I don't even call things trauma. To put that frame on an event in your past as it's a trauma, I say let's do a reframe there. It's an event. When I work with clients, I talk about the event, but not the trauma, because within that event in the past is a teaching. Yeah, life can be really hard and incredibly tragic things happen, but incredibly beautiful and empowering things happen every day since the dawn of time as well. So it's important to get the framework in place. Once we dug through it, we found some gold, and it turned out that there was a couple of things that were now in this person's life, there were actually opportunities that couldn't have existed before the event, not the trauma, before the event took place. Now we've looked at the emotional component, we've looked at sifting for the gift, looked at the reframe, and then what I did was I said, okay, what actions can you take today to drive you forward from this point? Because we want to really just get quite pragmatic in our approach. We want to get it down on paper. I'm a big one for getting things down on paper and being able to revisit the short-term, mid-term, long-term goals consistently. It's a little reminder of your intention to live that better life, your intention to the universe that you're going to step into that future. So that's what we worked on. Number one was trapped emotion. Ask yourself at the moment in your life with what you're dealing with, is there something going on? Pain is scary. I've been through immense, almost indescribable physical pain, obviously with my injuries. The emotional pain I carried from being a kid, a little boy, when my parents split up and growing up without a father that I believed wanted nothing to do with me and didn't love me, that emotional pain was so severe that it hurt for me more than physical pain. I want you to have a look at this. Step inside. Is there some emotion that you don't want to feel? A lot of people say, yeah, but I've been there, Damo. I went there, I felt it. Sometimes you just need to get a little bit more out. And each time, it's not about getting trapped in the emotion either. A lot of people have got this all wrong. I believe Eckhart Tolle has said numerous times that a true emotion is quite a short-lived state of the human being. It's energy moving, it's energy in motion. You can capture this and see it scientifically as a change in our electromagnetic field. I want you to have a look, ask yourself the question, connect in with your heart. Do you need to, experience some grief, some disappointment so that you can sift for that gift? Number two is the reframe. Let's go looking for some gold. Let's find out what is possible now. What's the opportunity that is now manifest that has come out of this event that we've been through? Get inside it. Go sifting for the gift. Find that piece of gold. When the brain latches onto that, and then you have this event in the past without a distorted emotion, that's called wisdom. That's what we're doing, hopefully. As long as we're expanding consciousness, we're moving from birth to death to gather information, gather experience, shine our light, share our love, and become wiser. So that gets taken to the soul, and it is now wisdom that you have. And that's self-empowerment. That's something you can draw upon now within yourself. So we had the emotion, feeling to heal, the reframe, and then three, it's about taking action. This is so important. The action comes first. Like what we often try and do is we try and buy time by thinking more, or we buy time by tuning back into the distorted feeling in the body. It's like it's all in these lower energy centers, this contracted feeling. And then we drive a thought, just like the suppressed emotion in the body, and then that drives another emotion, which drives another thought, and now we don't take action. It keeps us just separate from taking that voluntary action, and the voluntary action is going to produce a new experience, which will produce a new emotion, which will make you feel different. And then once you take enough of these voluntary actions, you get evidence. The proof is in the pudding, as we say here in Australia, that you then start to accumulate these little successes, and now you're starting to feel better. And I'm just going to close out by saying this as well. We often love to chalk up our, again, failures. We need to do a reframe about that, failures. But how often do we jot down and chalk up our successes? I work with a lot of clients about getting that onto paper every day. Give me 2 or 3 successes from this day. Because again, we're myelinating, remember? The brain is bringing in that myelin and wrapping it. We're myelinating a different framework, a different perception of the world we live in, of our self-identity, and of what we're capable of what we can actually achieve in this world. I honestly hope that has been of some benefit for you. If you can subscribe to my channel, share this video with anyone who you think might benefit, and as always, from my heart to yours, much love.